to my channel and welcome back to another Mental Health Mondays. I'm really hoping that this can go up on Monday. I am like going away this weekend, so I'm trying to like pre-film. It's currently 7:20. I'm listening to Sophia and Shinzia's girls' bathroom because it's the best. I really hope I can edit this in time and get it up in time for Monday, but we're just gonna pretend that I can. So today I thought I would just do an old school mental health Q&A, see what all your questions are. It's over on my Instagram, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, here is my Instagram. Go give me a cheeky follow. I bet you wouldn't want to after that voice. God, go give me a cheeky follow. So without further ado, shall we just get into the questions? I've got quite a few, even though I put it up at like 5 in the morning. That seems to be like my thing, is that I put like questions up at like 5 in the morning. So, I don't know. I just want to put out there that I'm not a therapist, I'm not trained in any mental health field. I'm just a girl who's been through the mental health system and want to help others, so yeah. So the first question is how to deal with guilt about mental health affecting others. I don't know what to do about it because I'm poorly and it's a vicious cycle. This is a really difficult emotion to feel. Like guilt, I feel like, is one of honestly the hardest emotions to deal with because there is no set way to deal with it. It's an emotion that you just feel constantly. It's an emotion that really takes over and is quite debilitating, or just simply debilitating. I really want to do a video because obviously I've done DBT, which is dialectical behavioural therapy, and I really want to do a video where I speak about how to cope with guilt, because we were given some pointers and there's like emotional regulation section which basically tells you how to deal with certain emotions. So if you'd like to see a video about how to cope with guilt, then give this video a thumbs up, because I've been thinking about doing it for ages, but I just don't know if it's one of the emotions that people want. I know that people want anger, but do you want guilt and shame? Like guilt / shame, even though they're different. But would you like that? Let me know. If you do want that, then I can do that for next week's video. How to deal with having memories of your lowest points. I feel haunted by mine. This is something that I get so much, and again, it's really difficult to deal with. If you think about it, you're always going to have memories of your lowest point or the darkest times in your life, and I tell you what the brain does. The brain has a sick way of almost romanticizing those points. For me anyway, I'm talking from experience at this point, and I know for a lot of others that is too. And you've just got to keep that in mind. You've got to keep it in mind that your brain is literally like romanticizing these as memories. The emotions that you're feeling are not the emotions that you felt at that time. You were in a really dark place. It's your lowest point for a reason. And if you keep that in mind and just remember that you don't want to be in them places, you've got to remind yourself how you felt in that time. Like that's why I personally like to keep like a journal, and it's just because I can look back, and when my brain goes into this sick kind of perverse romanticizing phase of wanting almost to be back, not even wanting to be back at that point, it's not like I wanted to be there, it's that I miss the ease of it, I miss the numbness of it. And this is something that people don't talk about, but there is a part of you that will feel comfort in sadness, and that's because you felt sadness for so long, your brain sets it as almost its default, and trying to come out of that is really tricky. If you're in the stages of recovery, which I'm guessing you're in the same stage as me, is where you're in the middle bit. You're not fully there, but you're not at your lowest. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's tricky. It's tricky. You're trying to get on with life, you're trying to do everything that you can, but still part of you longs for being in that comfort zone. And all I can say to you is that we don't want to jump out of our comfort zone, we want to expand it. We want to expand the comfort zone so that we don't feel so secure and feel sadness. We want to take hold of memories that feel good and really latch onto them, as opposed to latching on to the dark points in your life. it is really, really difficult, but honestly, that's the only way I can kind of think about coping with it, is realizing first of all, like, you have that you said haunted, so I'm guessing that these bad memories are really difficult for you. You've just got to remember that they're in the past, and you've got to try and latch on to the good things in life, like the good memories that you can have. So many questions were about mental health and relationships, and I've actually got Dylan on board for talking in a video about mental health and relationships. So if you don't know, Dylan is my boyfriend, and we have been together since September, but we were together when we were like 16, so he's really been through my whole mental health journey with me, really, honestly. He's always like, you were always fucking ill when I'm with you. I'm like, mate, I know. So I've got him on board for filming a video, so that should be coming up in a few weeks' time. So if you want, check out my Instagram, because I will be asking for questions about dealing with mental health and relationships when that time comes. But leading on from that, someone says how to deal with having sex when you have self-harm scars. Now this is actually not as difficult as you think. Honestly, the best thing to do is to remind yourself that this person wants to have sex with you, okay? They're not going to put themselves in a situation where you're going to have sex if they don't like you. So they're gonna like you for you and who you are, not just simply for your body. And hopefully, I always say this, but please make sure that they are aware beforehand, because obviously if you're getting down into the business and then all of a sudden they see scars and they're not aware of it, that makes it quite awkward. So I'd firstly say declare it, like you're in fucking customs or something. I have scars, okay? I have scars on me. No, make them aware of it, and then go and fucking do it. Go and enjoy yourself. Go have some good sex, okay? Don't worry about your body, because honestly, they're probably more worried about their body than yours. Everyone is. Even boys or other girls that you're gonna have sex with, it doesn't matter, because they're probably more conscious about what they look like as opposed to what you look like. So that is the truth. I speak the truth. Someone asked me, what's the biggest thing that set you a step back? Honestly, recently, like, I'm not gonna talk like 4 years ago, but recently, Bali. When I went to Bali, I lost so much confidence. If I watch my videos back from before Bali, I feel like I was so much more confident, and Bali just really knocked me down a peg. And maybe it was a good thing, maybe it needed to happen, because I was getting very... I thought I could do anything, basically. And I went to Bali and I figured, well, it was very apparent that my anxiety was extremely strong and I couldn't do it. Like, I literally couldn't do it. And I know people are like, oh, you could have done it. I couldn't do it. Like, it was too much for me. There was too many people, there was too much traveling, and like, I just couldn't do it. I think I would definitely go back to Bali, but in a different situation. Sorry, I'm just rubbing Albie's tummy because he keeps licking everything. But yeah, I thought I was pretty much invincible. And then I went to Bali and it really told me that I was not. So I would say Bali is the thing that has set me back the most, and I'm still not paying for the repercussions. I think I've acknowledged the fact that it has happened, and it did kind of lead to a bit of a relapse. So that's when my relapse kind of started last year. So it started last May. This time last year I was in Bali, and it was amazing, but it was also so difficult at the same time. A lot of people have asked how to deal with relapse and how to keep going, and again, I want to do a full video on this. However, I think with relapse, the hardest thing and the most important thing to remember, there's a quote: it doesn't matter how far you've gone in the wrong direction, you can always turn around. And I love that, because I just think it means you don't have to get to your worst in order to recover from a relapse, and that needs to be in your brain, like cemented there. You don't have to be bad in order to recover. Even if you're noticing that you're in a relapse, you can turn around and change things at any point. And I can be a hypocrite for saying this, because I don't always go and ask for help, and I know how difficult it is, but I think listening to the people around you as well, because when I was in a relapse, I didn't notice until I was in too deep, and if I'd listened to the people around me, even you guys noticed before I did, then I would have recognised that I was in a relapse and been able to turn around before it got to the point where I needed to be hospitalised. I think that quote is really important, but again, I've planned a whole video on how to deal with relapse or how to cope with relapse in my little coping series, so stay tuned. I got a lot of questions on how I told my parents and how I told my boyfriend about my mental health problems. So parents, I've spoke about this before, but basically it had been 18 months since I'd started self-harming like every day, and my mental health had deteriorated so much. This was when I was 16, yeah, 16 to 17. This is all in my mental health story thing, but my mental health had deteriorated. I was self-harming every day and no one knew except for my sister, but she didn't tell my parents, which I'm very grateful for because I feel like it was my place to say it, and I'm really happy that she didn't. So I basically went into my mum's room one day and I had it in my brain that I needed to say the words, "Mum, I've got to tell you something," because I thought once I said them words then I couldn't go back and kind of retract from what I was saying because she would know that something was wrong. Our relationship was really not good at this point because I was pretty much just a fucking bitch and I was horrible to everyone around me. I really did hate everyone around me. But I went into her room and I said, "Mum, I need to tell you something," and she was like, "What?" Because I'd missed the bus at this point. She was like, "Go and get the fucking bus." And I'm like, "No, Mum, I need to tell you something." And then I basically just showed her my arm, and that's kind of how my parents found out, because she then phoned my dad and my dad came home from work and I didn't go to school for a bit, and then I went into hospital and everything kind of happened. And how did I tell Dylan, so my boyfriend at the time, so I think I was 17 when I told him, 16 or 17, and basically one night I had gone out and I was walking home. I must have been 17 because I was walking home from a club, underaged, classic, as I did at 3 o'clock in the morning every time I went out, which was really dangerous and just risky behaviour really. I rang him, or he rang me, and I literally just drunk word vomited all over him. And that's how I told him, and I don't think we spoke about it again afterwards until things got really bad. So yeah, not the healthiest way of telling my boyfriend, but I think my parents was a quite healthy way. I had it in my head that I needed to say them words in order to tell them, and it kind of worked. Well, it did work, so yeah. What part of BPD and relationships do you struggle with most? Because obviously with BPD, relationships are one of the main aspects which people can struggle with. I struggle with attachments and splitting. I'd say splitting more than attachments. I'm only attached to like 2 people, and that's my dad and my CPN. I keep talking about my CPN in every bloody video, but she's leaving me and I'm really sad about it, okay? Just let me be, okay? I know I keep talking about her, but I'm attached to her. Like, I constantly worry about them, I constantly think about them, I'm like, it sounds really like stalkery, but it's just something that happens. But splitting, oh my god. Splitting is something that I find so difficult and I struggle with a lot. I split on people too much. I go from loving them to hating them in a split second. I internalize it all. I don't let the person know. But it's something that I find so difficult, and it really, really triggers the feeling of guilt for me, because I'm like, I'm so horrible to think this about this person. Because they're so nice and they haven't done anything, and I'm quite good at rationalizing myself and like not acting on it, because I'm like, I know this person hasn't done anything. But splitting can be really difficult for me, and I think I can come across quite cold if I've split on someone and I'm gone to hating them. Not hating them, that's a strong word, but well, I do, yeah. I do kind of hate them, but I don't actually hate them. It's just my brain kind of, I feel like it's a coping mechanism. It's like, I don't want to get hurt, so I split on someone and like, I just want to cut them off. so that I don't hurt them and I don't hurt myself. But splitting is something that I find very difficult. So I'm gonna leave the video there. I'm really sorry that it's not really long and I didn't get through many questions, but I will do many more of these in the future, so don't worry. I just want to get this video edited and up so that you do have something on Monday, okay? I love you guys. Please stay safe. Message me if you need to. I'm trying to get through all my DMs. It takes a while. I'm very sorry if I haven't replied, but just keep messaging because they come to the top again, and I tried to go down, but it won't let me go down. On Instagram, it won't let me go all the way down. So if you just message it, it will come back to the top and then I can read it and reply to you. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Stay safe and I will see you soon.